There is a breaker switch underneath the seat of most Chinese e-bikes. This disconnects the alarm. The steering lock, very easily defeated by a sandaled foot. And just like that, in China, your electric scooter is stolen.
谁偷了我的电动车？我的电动车被谁偷了？
You think it's safe parking your bike somewhere where you can watch it as you eat? Think again. This e-bike was left to charge downstairs. The owner just went upstairs for a minute. Well, guess what? It only took 14 seconds to steal this e-bike. Sometimes it's not even the bikes they're after, but the valuable batteries that lie inside. If it's not nailed down, it'll be stolen in China. Theft has always been a massive issue in China, but recently it's seriously gone off the rails, and something incredibly strange is happening. While the police tell people to be careful of theft, while they release bulletins showing you about the crime and the big issues and the huge amounts of theft and the new techniques that thieves are using to steal things, at the same time as this is happening, they've started to employ foreigners to lie and pretend as if China is somehow one of the safest countries in the world where you can just leave stuff lying around and it won't get stolen. It's quite comical, actually, because no Chinese person, not even the most nationalist Chinese person, will try to even begin to pretend that theft isn't a problem in China. Anyway, before we get into it more, a data broker app is on the cards. Deep within the corporate offices of a data broker, something is happening behind closed doors. How did we get your number? We'll let you sweat that out. Selling your private info? That's what we're all about. With morals of a cockroach, vileness beyond reproach, you cannot escape us with data broken bros. When you browse the internet, when you click on accept a cookie, when you sign up for some or other service in a shop, your data gets sold to data brokers, and data brokers then sell it to other people. But there is a way to get your name and personal information removed off of these lists, and that is incognito. You see, they do the fancy footwork and all the hard work for you. There are thousands of data brokers out there. And for you to go after each one and legally request for your name to be removed would be incredibly time-consuming and costly. But Incognito does it for you. You give them permission, and then they will, on your behalf, send legal letters to all of these different data brokers to get your personal data removed. If you're tired of junk mail and you want to get rid of all these targeted adverts and take your privacy back, go to incogni.com/Winston and use the code Winston to get 60% off. Protect your privacy today. Go to incogni.com/Winston and use the code Winston to take your personal data off the market. And now back to the show. You know, I was often targeted by thieves being a foreigner in China. In fact, I've had many things, well, at least attempted to be stolen. Some things were actually stolen, and I was amazed at how quickly things get stolen in China. Quick example, I bought myself a bicycle, and I bought my girlfriend a brand new bicycle. We rolled up to go and have lunch at a restaurant, parked it on the sidewalk. We actually double chained them with these chains with padlocks to the fence. There's like a railing next to the road. We sat down, we started to eat our meal, we ordered our meal, I looked outside, they were gone. Must have been a couple of seconds, seriously. And that was very disappointing since I just bought the bikes that same day. I mean, any foreigner who's actually lived in China or anyone from China can attest that, you know, especially bicycle thieves, especially around New Year's time, yeah, you know what, they really know what they're doing. They're very quick. They can steal anything. I had several pickpocket attempts on me. I managed to catch most of them, but one of them was successful. They stole a pretty expensive electronic dictionary that I had. You know, I was studying Chinese, so it was very useful to me. I was actually really bummed that it got stolen, especially since whoever stole it's not going to use it. Anyway, I stopped, personally, a number of pickpockets walking in the streets where I'd see a woman walking towards me, guy with long surgical tweezers in her pocket pulling out her phone. That's the first time, and I screamed and shouted, caused a scene, and the guy just like slinked off into the crowd and disappeared, and she thanked me. This had happened a couple of times. Anyway, I would like to say that theft, the problem of theft improved in China during the 14 years I lived there, but unfortunately it didn't. Even with the massive amount of CCTV cameras that you have around the city, every single time something was stolen, if you tried to get the footage pulled up, well, there were always excuses. Either the cameras were magically broken at the time. This usually is code for, hey, don't bother me, I don't want to have to deal with this. And even if the footage did work, it was always grainy and difficult to identify the person. And listen, I know lots of people who've had stuff stolen. Pretty much every single one of my foreign friends that lived in China had things stolen, and my Chinese friends too. So go ahead, ask a Chinese person if they think it's safe to leave something lying on the street in China. They will tell you absolutely not. Ask them if it's safe to leave something on your e-bike on the side of the road. They'll say absolutely no. Ask them if it's safe to leave the keys in your e-bike. They will say absolutely no. China is not the kind of place where you want to mess around with trust. It's a very low trust society. Scams are everywhere. Everybody's afraid of scams. Kidnapping is a huge problem. Everybody's afraid that their child's going to be kidnapped. I'm not making this up. This is a real thing. Chinese people know. And so when you see these ignorant foreigners that are being used to do propaganda to try and pretend China's safe, it kind of boils my blood, because you know what? It's demonstrably false. I do, however, always find it very interesting when the Chinese government decides to focus on a specific topic. And remember, the way it works is there's a topic for the outside world and there's a topic for within China, because the Chinese government's not trying to tell Chinese citizens that everything's safe and you can leave stuff on your bike and it won't get stolen. No, no, no. In fact, it's the opposite. The Chinese government and the Chinese police bulletins are warning people right now in China, do not leave your goods unattended. Be careful of thieves. Be careful of pickpockets. I mean, here it is. Here's bulletins directly from the Chinese government. I mean, that's the thing. These foreign propagandists that are trying to put out this absolute nonsense that it's safe and you can leave stuff around and you don't need to worry about anything being stolen, they are going directly against the Chinese government and the bulletins that the Chinese police are putting out. So who are you supposed to believe? The Chinese Communist Party, who's telling their own people, hey, be careful of thieves because they're going to steal your shit? Or some lame foreigner that's fresh off the boat running around doing some sort of propaganda saying, oh, look, I can leave stuff. Or look, there's a bag over there, or somebody left their keys in. That means everything's safe in China. Who are you going to believe?
Things that only happen in China.
王爷，这个不能办，这个是人家盲人走的路。你办了这个要犯法的，晓得不？真的不能办，你遭逮到了要遭了。
Okay, I know I said if it's not nailed down, it'll get stolen in China. But apparently, if it's nailed down, it'll still get stolen in China. This auntie is stealing the little plates that help blind people walk because she's going to go recycle them for a couple of cents.
I'm just walking in a kind of dark street. There is no one here. And look, a motorbike with a bag right there.
If you leave anything of value on your bike unattended, it will be stolen. Here you can see a thief is busy stealing an e-bike while his friend goes and looks through all the little pockets and places on other e-bikes to see if there's anything to steal, and also if any of the e-bikes are easy to steal so that he can steal one as well. I mean, you have some of these useful idiot white monkeys doing these things where they put hundreds of RMB in a phone on a bike and walk away and say, look, it won't get stolen. Well, obviously, the thieves know it's a setup. If somebody's leaving a huge amount of money out on the seat of a motorbike in the middle of public, they know that somebody's watching, waiting to catch them. It's like bait. It's like, it's a bait thing. They're not stupid. So of course they're not just going to take it. But if you leave anything on your bike, if you leave anything of value outside unattended in China, it will get stolen. Ask any Chinese person. They will not lie about this.
But it's not the only one. Look at this. What? How can someone leave his stuff just like that?
It just shows you this two-tier propaganda system that China uses. You'll get the truth from the Chinese government when they speak in Chinese to the Chinese people on the Chinese internet that's blocked off from the rest of the world. But you'll just get this falsehood about how amazing China is and how safe it is. And look at all the blue LED lights that proves that somehow China is living in the future. That's what you'll see. And right now, with this current trade war going on, expect this kind of thing to ramp up like crazy. I think we're about to see a huge bucket of cold water get thrown over this whole nonsense facade, this flashy lights and this idea that China's living in the future and China's amazing and better than the USA. Because you know what? This stupid propaganda push that you see day in and day out is hurting the Chinese people who are suffering the most. And I mean it. Middle-class Chinese people don't even come close to the level of living that middle-class Americans or Westerners are. Not even close. They don't have the purchasing power. They simply do not have the same quality of life. They have to work incredibly hard. They have to struggle with all sorts of nonsense, like living in a place that's constantly polluted, living in a place where you cannot own your property, living in a place where you are... Why do you think they all go to Canada and Australia and America when they get the money? To go and buy houses, to try and settle down, to try and immigrate. Why do you think, if China was such an amazing place? We're going to see it now. And there's no point me trying to convince you because you know what? The truth always outs. And we're about to see a massive amount of truth-telling. Anyway, guys, stay awesome. Unlike these stupid propagandists who try and pretend like theft isn't an issue in China. I mean, I'm sorry. Go and ask any Chinese person, any single Chinese person. Just go ask them, hey, are there thieves in China? Will something get stolen if I leave it outside? Just go ask them. I mean, they're not going to make up a lie because you know what? In China, thieves are hated with a passion, just like anywhere else, because theft affects just about everyone. Anyway, stay awesome, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and please join me for my secret show. And if you don't have the means to join me for my secret show, which is the best way to support me, go check out the Friday show. It's super fun. Every single Friday we cover what's new in China and we talk about the propaganda and the fun things and the serious stuff and everything in between. Stay awesome, guys.